Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at photos that will make you uncomfortable. Hundreds of millions of photos are taken every single year. Now, most of these are nice family snaps, or stock photos of women eating apples. But there are also some strange and downright uncomfortable photos taken every single day. So check them out and prepare to feel weird. But first, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too? Coming in at number 10 is cartoon characters. So chances are one of your best childhood memories is cartoons. Most of them, even the big scary ones, look nice and friendly on screen. But when you see a guy dressed up in a stinky costume of these cartoon characters, things can get pretty scary. I'm pretty sure we were all creeped out by the Disney mascots when we were kids. Well, it seems like the two kids in this photo went somewhere other than Disneyland. I don't remember Bart Simpson being a Disney character. This place looks like one big meeting ground for every cartoon character ever. There's Bart Simpson, Donald Duck, and isn't that the Mad Magazine kid in the background? My reaction to this image is similar to that kid. This photo is very unexplained, but it does give me the chills. Particularly Bart Simpson, there's just something about his face which looked wrong. Next up is Kraut Mess. So everyone loves Christmas. It's a chance for the family to get together and have some fun. One fun Christmas activity has to be building snowmen. But despite all the snow, it seems like they do things differently in Russia. This photo was apparently taken in Russia and shows somebody making a snowman out of sauerkraut. I don't know what this guy's thinking. Perhaps his brain has been replaced by sauerkraut. Instead of the traditional carrot nose, this guy has a frankfurter nose. And I'm pretty sure those are chopped olives on his eyes. There's something about this photo that just seems wrong. In fact, it's not something, it's all of it. Next up is don't take the bus. So public transport isn't the most glamorous way to get around, but it is pretty useful and most of the time not all that bad. But sometimes when you take public transport at night, you can run into some colourful characters. Well, one day somebody was on the night bus and they turned around to see a terrifying sight. They saw this man who looks plain scary. I'm not sure what this guy's deal is, but he looks really crazed. We all have a bad photo day every now and then, but this guy goes above and beyond. For some reason his teeth seem massive and yellow, and his eyes seem to be glowing white. The funny thing is he seems to be minding his own business, despite looking so crazy. But guys, if the whole bus was full except for one seat next to this guy, would you take it or would you get off? Yeah, I think I'd rather walk. Next up is Ramen Melon. So, who doesn't love ramen noodles and watermelon? They're two pretty great foods. The only thing that wouldn't be great is having them together. Well, that is of course why somebody had to do this. Yeah, as you can see, somebody actually made ramen noodles in a watermelon. I have no idea why they'd want to do that, but they did it. The strange thing is, they used the watermelon as a bowl. I'm surprised the watermelon's not melting or something on that gas cooker. Who knows, maybe this is a new life hack. But in all seriousness, this looks nasty. And he didn't even use a named brand noodle. The named brand noodles are only like $1. Get it together. But anyway, this photo is very strange. It's not as scary as the cartoon characters or the guy on the bus, but there's something about it which just doesn't feel right. Next up is Bookception. So this one is more funny than anything else, but it's also something that will really mess with your mind. In school, I'm sure you have to buy a bunch of those textbooks. Well, one day a guy at a Florida high school picked up a textbook from the library. It looks like a typical cheesy 90s textbook. It's got a bunch of happy, different looking people on it. But that was when the guy saw something strange. He realized these kids are holding the book that they posed for. Take a look at the books in the people's hands, and they're on them. I literally have no idea how this works. Did they do 2 photo shoots and then print these books? Maybe these kids who are reading the books might like it enough to advertise for it. But even so, this inception makes me pretty creeped out. Next up is the Pitless Avocado. Have you ever won the food lottery? It's where you get super lucky with food, for example an oversized chip. You may think an example of the food lottery would be getting a pitless avocado. The pit in an avocado simply takes up space, and it's pretty tricky to get out. But once you actually see a pitless avocado like the one on screen right now, you see it's actually kind of unsettling. Especially when you think about it. I mean, avocados should have pits. It's how they reproduce. I'm not sure how this avocado was even made without a pit. Who knows, guys? Maybe GMOs have really gone too far. But seriously, do you guys have any theories as to how this even exists? It's something that seems good in theory, but when you see it in real life, it just creeps you out. Next up is empty jeans. Do you remember the story The Pale Green Pants by Dr. Seuss? You probably read it as a kid, and it was about a pair of pants that come to life. They moved around by themselves despite nobody being in them. Well, it looks like this is an example of life imitating art. Somehow this pair of jeans is standing up all by itself. But unlike the cute kid's story by Dr. Seuss, this seems pretty creepy. I'm not sure how on earth the owner got this pair to stand up like this. I assume it's the owner taking a picture. But who knows, maybe it's a shirt that's come to life and has taken the photo. But who knows, maybe it's a glove that came to life and took the image. Just imagine walking into your house and seeing this. I'd assume there was a ghost in the house or something. Next up is seeing double. So it's not exactly hard to make somebody look strange using Photoshop, but when you see an image which looks very bizarre but then learn it's got no Photoshop on it, you can feel uncomfortable. That's exactly the case with this image. As you can see, this woman appears to have two faces, and amazingly this has not been photoshopped. Instead, this is just a very clever makeup job. The key to this image is not to look for too long, otherwise you'll get a headache. It looks like you're seeing double, but no, this woman is just a makeup genius. If you look at it for too long, it actually gets pretty hard to tell which face is correct. The real facial features are always the ones on the bottom, but if you look at it for too long, it even seems like this woman has two sets of hair. This image literally blows your mind and makes you feel pretty creeped out at the same time. Next up is pie. So this is an image you may find unsettling simply because you relate to it. Out of all the foods that you cut, pies are the most simple. They're in a circular shape, so just like a pizza, you can take slices. Well, one Thanksgiving, somebody walked over to their pumpkin pie to find this. Some monster had taken a slice out of the middle. Now, maybe they just didn't like the crust, but that is no excuse to do this. This literally ruins the entire pie, but also it just seems wrong and uncomfortable to do this. And for anyone with a bit of OCD, this really messes with the symmetry of the pie. I'm sure most of you guys are freaking out about this image just like me. Next up is black toilet paper. So this is something you likely never thought you'd see. But guys, I'm sorry to say, check out this black toilet paper. This just seems super gothic and strange. We're so used to seeing white toilet paper that I don't even know where you get black toilet paper. Some may argue that black toilet paper is a better design, but there's just something about black toilet paper that doesn't seem right. Maybe because we're so used to white toilet paper, or maybe it's another reason. But there's just something that doesn't seem right about this image. Do you guys agree with me, or am I just crazy? What do you guys think? Next up is empty lollipop. So we've already seen the empty jeans, but now for something even more disappointing, an empty lollipop. I don't know how this gets to stores without somebody making sure the product was actually there, but amazingly a store really sold this empty lollipop. Just imagine how bummed out you'd be if you bought this. I'm not exactly sure how this even came to be, but there's something about it which makes me uncomfortable. It's probably because there's a wrapper for the lollipop, a stick for the lollipop, but no lollipop. It just seems wrong and has made me and a bunch of other people online very uncomfortable. Have you guys ever been disappointed by an empty lollipop? Next time your kids are misbehaving, give them one of these. Not only will it disappoint them, it will also make them feel pretty uncomfortable. Next up is Cookie and OJ. Salsa and dip, Zack and Cody, milk and cookies. These are just a few of the greatest combinations in the world. But one day somebody committed sacrilege and recorded it on camera. As you can see, this guy's enjoying a nice cookie, but instead of dipping it into a glass of milk like a regular human being, he's dipping it into OJ. This has got to be the nastiest thing ever. Everyone knows that there's not many foods that orange juice goes nice with, and also orange juice is nasty after brushing your teeth. This is simply because orange juice is pretty sour, and I'm all for sweet and sour foods, but when you put a sweet cookie in a sour OJ, things just get weird. This image is uncomfortable because it just seems wrong. You know there should be milk in the glass, but instead there's orange juice. It's funny how something so simple can make you feel so uncomfortable. But guys, if cookies and OJ is a guilty pleasure you like, then let me know in the comments. Next up is uniform bubbles. So we all know that bubbles can be pretty fun. Kids love them and they come out in all different shapes and sizes. Bath bubbles are also very random. And I guess that's why this photo of perfectly uniform bubbles is pretty uncomfortable. It looks like some amazing pattern. Or perhaps like somebody picked up these bubbles with tweezers and placed them there. But of course you can't pick up a bubble without it popping, so this wasn't the case. Somehow these bubbles perfectly formed in a uniform line like this. Is it just me that finds this kind of weird and creepy? And I don't know about you, but I would not want to go for a dip in that water. Something about that water tells me I'd come out of it with 5 fingers and 7 toes. Next up is no bristles. So we've already seen one product fail with the lollipop. Well, this is another very odd product fail. I bet you guys have never seen a toothbrush without bristles, and you've probably never wanted to, but oh well, here you go. As you can see, this toothbrush is made without any bristles, even though it literally says soft bristles on the packaging. Many questions arise from this image, like how is it even made in the factory, and how did the person putting it on the shelf not even realize this? It's also a pretty unsettling sight to see, seeing as we know toothbrushes should have bristles. I'm not exactly sure why this photo gives some people the creeps, but it definitely does. According to online comments, there's something people just don't like about a bristleless toothbrush. Well, I guess that's my invention out the window. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the photo that made you the most uncomfortable. For me, I think it was the sauerkraut snowman. There's just way too much wrong with that. But guys, if you want more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.